We're seeing AI evolve at, well, warp speed, right? But Africa, with its massive youth population and booming digital scene, it's in a really unique position.
Absolutely. That combination, it creates this incredible opportunity for, homegrown innovation.
And that brings us neatly to EON Reality's AI Academy Africa Incubator initiative. This could be a genuinely game-changing development. So our deep dive today is really about understanding the core of this initiative. What are its key aspects and what's its potential to, well, reshape Africa's digital future?
Exactly. And we're focusing primarily on EON Reality's own announcements and background material to get to the heart of this pretty ambitious plan.
Okay. And for you, the listener, this is about getting that clear picture, understanding what's happening, the key takeaways, maybe those aha moments, without getting too bogged down in jargon.
Right.
Okay, so let's dive in. What exactly is the AI Academy Africa Incubator Initiative? And maybe why is EON Reality, who we know are leaders in AI and VR knowledge transfer, why are they behind this specific African initiative?
Well, what's really fascinating here, I think, is the core mission. It's all about empowering African entrepreneurs to actually use AI to tackle Africa's biggest challenges.
Okay.
And crucially, to build real economic opportunities from that. The phrasing they use is solutions created by Africans for Africans, really tailored to their specific contexts.
So a very targeted approach then, not just some broad tech push.
Yeah.
And the scale you mentioned, it sounds substantial.
Oh, it is. We're talking about a $50 million investment commitment over 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and the plan is to establish these AI innovation hubs in 25 African nations. The goals are definitely ambitious, supporting over 500 AI applications and aiming to create more than 100,000 jobs, both direct and indirect.
100,000 jobs,
Yeah.
that's significant. How does that investment compare, say, to general VC funding in Africa?
That's a good question. Total VC funding across Africa hit several billion dollars last year, so this $50 million is, a significant injection. But it's very focused specifically on building this AI ecosystem through their model.
Okay, that puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
It highlights the focus.
Yeah.
Now, what makes their approach different? I mean, there are other tech hubs and incubators out there.
Right, and that's an important point. EON Reality brings its own methodology, the Learn, Train, Perform approach. It's built on their specific technology ecosystem.
Okay.
So that includes things like EON XR for immersive learning, their Career Compass tool, the Entrepreneur Guide, and, crucially, their rapid application development tool called Vibe Coding.
Vibe coding, that sounds like it might be a key piece.
It really is. I think what differentiates this initiative is the combination of intensive technical training, specifically in their ecosystem, but adapted for Africa, combined with startup methods tailored for the region. But maybe the biggest kicker is the direct access these ventures get to EON Reality's global marketplace.
Oh, right. How many users was that again?
42 million users. That's a potentially huge built-in distribution channel right from the start.
That marketplace access, yeah, that feels like a massive advantage over starting from scratch. And they are building physical hubs too, you said, not just virtual.
Correct. They're planning a network of both physical and virtual hubs. They're kicking off with initial centers in Kenya, Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, and Rwanda, with the plan to expand from there.
Okay, a hybrid approach.
Right.
So what specific kinds of problems are they actually aiming to solve with AI through this?
Well, EON Reality apparently did some groundwork. They identified 15 high-priority problem areas in a white paper.
15. Like what?
So examples include things like agricultural optimization, thinking about enhancing productivity for, the 33 million smallholder farmers across the continent.
Critical.
Absolutely. Also expanding healthcare access, maybe using AI diagnostics or telemedicine, clean water management that affects over 400 million people, developing renewable energy using AI-optimized microgrids, and boosting financial inclusion for the 57% who are currently unbanked.
Those are definitely major challenges and huge opportunities if AI can make a difference.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about this vibe coding you mentioned. What's its role in tackling these?
Right, so vibe coding, what's potentially revolutionary about it, or at least what they're claiming, is that it really speeds up application development and, importantly, lowers the barrier to entry.
How so?
The idea is that entrepreneurs, even those with less traditional programming experience, can use it to rapidly build AI applications. So the selected participants in this incubator get intensive training specifically in AI fundamentals and vibe coding.
I see.
And on top of that, they get individualized mentorship, some seed funding, technical infrastructure, and again, access to that global distribution network.
So it's about enabling faster, more accessible AI innovation for these specific challenges. How does this whole package compare then to other initiatives we already see operating in Africa? The existing accelerators or tech hubs.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, EON's approach definitely has some distinct features compared to, say, traditional accelerators like Y Combinator or Techstars, even when they operate locally, or established African tech hubs like C-Hub or iHub, or even development programs from groups like the World Bank or corporate innovation labs.
Okay, let's break down those differences. What really stands out?
Well, first is their proprietary tech stack, particularly vibe coding. It's designed for rapid AI development without needing deep traditional coding skills, which differs from the more general tools often used.
Right.
Second, the deep focus on adapting everything to the African context, rather than just importing a model from elsewhere. Third, as we mentioned, that immediate access to their 42 million users, that's a unique distribution advantage.
Definitely.
Fourth, they talk about longer-term support, potentially beyond typical incubator timelines. Fifth, their systematic identification of those 15 key challenge areas gives it a very targeted problem focus from the outset. Sixth, the Pan-African ambition, aiming for 25 countries, is quite broad geographically. Seventh, their model aims for sustainability through things like equity stakes, revenue sharing, and integration with their marketplace.
So quite a few differentiators. It sounds comprehensive, almost like a whole ecosystem.
Right.
And they even have a multi-phase implementation plan laid out.
They do. It's structured over the 5 years in 3 phases.
So what did that look like?
Phase 1, running roughly 2025 to 2026, is called the foundation phase. That's about setting up pilot hubs in the first 5 countries, developing the curriculum, getting the initial cohorts of entrepreneurs in, and launching the first applications.
Makes sense.
Phase 2, from 2026 to 2027, is acceleration. This involves expanding to 10 more countries, refining the methodologies based on early results, scaling up the successful apps, and strengthening connections with investor networks.
Scaling and refining.
Yep.
And the final phase?
Phase 3, transformation, runs from 2027 to 2029. The goal here is to complete the expansion to all 25 target countries, foster self-sustaining innovation communities within the hubs, achieve continental scale for the most impactful applications, and really establish Africa as a recognized global AI innovation hub.
Wow, that's ambitious, but it's clearly structured. Let's step back for a second. Why is Africa seen as such a ripe environment for this kind of initiative right now?
There are several compelling factors. You've got the demographics, a huge young population, like 1.4 billion people, with 60% under the age of 25.
Incredible potential there.
Exactly. Then there's the rapid digital adoption. Mobile phone penetration is already over 85% in many areas. The continent's economy is significant, around $2.5 trillion GDP, and growing at about 4% annually pre-pandemic, showing resilience.
Okay.
And crucially, as we discussed with the problem areas, there are significant development needs, which from an innovation perspective represent opportunities. Plus, there's this undeniable entrepreneurial, energy-vibrant startup ecosystems already exist in many key cities.
So you have this confluence of a young, increasingly tech-engaged population facing real-world challenges, coupled with economic growth and entrepreneurial spirit.
It does sound like fertile ground for AI innovation.
Precisely. And when you look at the projections for the global AI market, adding something like $16 trillion in new value, EON Reality's stated aim is to ensure Africa captures a significant portion of that, with Africans as creators, not just consumers.
Right, the by Africans for Africans idea again. How are they ensuring the right people get into the program? What are the core components supporting them?
They emphasize a few key program components. First is talent identification and development. This involves a rigorous selection process looking at technical aptitude, entrepreneurial potential, understanding of the problems, and commitment to impact. They also stress recruiting diverse cohorts, including women, people from rural areas, and other underrepresented groups.
Then there's comprehensive training and ongoing mentorship. Second is technology enablement, providing access to vibe coding, a library of pre-built AI components, cloud infrastructure, development environments, and ensuring mobile optimization.
So the tools and training.
Third is implementation support, helping with user testing, pilot deployments, measuring impact, and developing scaling strategies. And fourth, financial resources, providing seed funding, operational support during incubation, connecting startups to follow-on investment, and leveraging EON's network for potential revenue generation.
It covers quite a few bases: talent, tech, support, funding. Looking at the big picture then, What kind of tangible impact are they actually projecting from all this?
The quantifiable goals over the 5 years are pretty bold. They're aiming for 500 plus new AI applications developed and launched,
Okay.
5,000 plus high-skilled entrepreneurs trained and supported, over 100,000 direct and indirect jobs created.
That jobs number again.
Yeah, it's a major target. Also, improved service delivery, think healthcare, education, finance, reaching over 50 million Africans, generating over $1 billion in new economic value.
$1 billion.
And as we mentioned, the overarching goal is establishing Africa as a recognized global hub for AI innovation.
Those are potentially transformative numbers across the board: applications, skills, jobs, service reach, economic value. So, to kind of wrap this up, EON Reality's AI Academy Africa Incubator initiative looks like a really significant, multifaceted effort.
It does. It's designed to empower African entrepreneurs to build targeted AI solutions for the continent-specific challenges, leveraging EON's unique ecosystem, their vibe coding tech, and that global marketplace reach.
The potential for real impact across so many critical sectors seems immense, promising, substantial economic growth and much-needed job creation if it succeeds.
Precisely. It really taps into that intersection of need, talent, and technology.
It definitely leaves you thinking, doesn't it, about the future trajectory of AI innovation in Africa. What kinds of locally driven solutions will emerge from initiatives like this? And perhaps how might some of those solutions eventually address global challenges too? It's quite exciting to think about the possibilities.
It really is. There's a huge amount of potential waiting to be unlocked.
For anyone wanting to dig deeper, you can find more details in EON Reality's own white paper on this, and they also discuss it on their content platforms like their podcast and blog.